Hey everybody, this is GGB co-host Poppers, and this is a long day college basketball episode of the day, Saturday edition. As you know, Saturday is the most busy day in college basketball, so let's get straight into it. Friday, there was one game. Purdue took on number 23 Michigan State, and dang, this was a good one. Purdue came back by a lot, 19-31 at halftime. It looked like they were really done. They fought through the adversity. They came all the way back, and Williams hit a game-winning shot at the end of the game with 6 seconds left. Michigan State missed a runner that would have won them the game, but 65-64, I believe, was the final score. Let's go Purdue Boilermakers, giving me 100% dare-free week. Thank goodness, because I was worried about Saturday and Sunday, because it was weird. But thank you, Boilermakers. But let's get into Saturday stuff. St. John's at 6-5, taking on number 7 Creighton. 13.5 point favorite. Creighton is the Blue Jays. I think they're. I don't have much faith in St. John's this year. Creighton just had one of the best games, in my opinion, they've put together all year. They destroyed Seton Hall team that I thought was pretty good this year. So I think Creighton's a very solid team. I think they're a final, at the very least, Elite 8 team. They're playing extremely great basketball right now. I believe they're going to go deep in the playoffs, and it would take a lot for you to convince me otherwise. 11 o'clock, Ohio State, which is sitting at 8-3, travels to number 15 Rutgers, sitting at 7-3. Now, Rutgers just had one of their most embarrassing losses of the year a few days ago against Michigan State, where they lost by like 23 points or something like that. It was pretty sizable blowout. I think Rutgers is going to want to get their revenge here, which is why I'm leaning away from Ohio State here. Ohio State slipped out of the rankings, so a win here would put them probably back into the top 25. But the fact is, Rutgers also wants to get a comeback win after absolutely devastating, demoralizing loss against Michigan State. That's why I'm leaning away from this one. Now, Wake Forest is traveling to number 21 Duke, and to be honest, I don't think Wake Forest is that worse of a team than Duke at this point, although Duke is ranked and Wake Forest is not. Duke honestly should have lost to Boston College, and Boston College is nowhere near as good as Wake Forest. The problem is that if I pick this one, I'd be going against what normally happens. The last 21 times Wake Forest has traveled to Duke, it has resulted in a loss for the Demon Deacons. I'm leaning away from that one for that primary reason. I don't really feel... I think it could happen, though. Like, I'm not going to hate it against the Demon Deacons, who have put together a pretty good squad this year. But the fact is, I'm not really all that hyped about Wake Forest beating Duke. And going against history is just not what I do here, if you've been watching my channel. Texas... Number 4 Texas take on number 14 West Virginia. While this is the lowest spread of the weekend, Texas is only favored by 1 point, which I don't know how that happened. I don't know if we watched different West Virginia teams for the past 2 games, a game where Oklahoma State crumbled, but really should have won that game, and the fact that they got destroyed by Oklahoma. Texas is a seriously better team. Like, they're legitimately way better than West Virginia is at the moment. I think... I don't know how you bet for West Virginia on this one if you've watched basketball at all over the past few weeks. I've been saying it for a while. I think West Virginia's frauds. I believe they're going to lose this one here. And I really wish they lost the Oklahoma State one, so that would bump them out of the top 25, because they really don't deserve to be here. They do not deserve to be a top 25 team. And but I think Texas is going to destroy them. They lead the Big 12 with 41 rebounds per game, which is why I'm leaning away from this one. Now, number Tennessee is traveling to Texas A&M. Now, Texas A&M has had a weirdly good year. They just had their biggest loss of the season last time they played. I believe it was to LSU, but I'm not positive. Texas A&M is actually, weirdly enough, playing pretty good basketball. Normally they don't. If you've been following Texas A&M basketball for any amount of time, the Aggies are normally god-awful at basketball, but it turns out finally that Virginia Tech coach who went there away from Virginia Tech, which I don't understand why, but, but I don't know. Virginia Tech is pretty good this year, so I don't know why he left. But Texas A&M was his home college, so I guess I understand it. But I thought it was a bad decision. But they've actually been not bad this year, which is weird for Texas A&M. Normally they're horrible. But the fact is, I think Tennessee's a top 10 team. I agree with this ranking. But loss to Alabama doesn't mean a whole lot to me. You could lose once and then still be considered a good basketball team. I believe that's what will continue here today against Texas A&M. Now, Number 22, Virginia is traveling to Boston College. Now, Boston College sits at a 2-8 record, but again, we saw against Duke that they're a pretty feisty squad. And Virginia almost lost to Wake Forest, so I don't know. I think it's possible this game pulls off an upset. Virginia's favored by 8.5 points. I don't know if I'd go that far, mainly because I don't think Virginia's that good of a team. I think the Cavaliers are pretty weak this year. But the fact is, I don't believe in the Eagles that much either. In closing, I think this game will be close, mainly because Boston College is really, that's what they've shown this year, is that they can keep games close, but they can't really pull it out in the end. So that's what I think I'm leaning towards here in my pick. I don't think Boston College is going to be able to pull off the outright upset, but I do think they will cover. Number 2, Baylor travels to TCU, and I don't know what to think of Baylor. One week they'll play a close game against Iowa State, and the next week they'll just blow out a pretty good Oklahoma team. So it's really interesting. But Baylor's 10-0. Whether how they got there, it doesn't really matter. They're still undefeated, which is a pretty impressive feat this far into the season. TCU's a not bad team. 9-3 record, and the Horned Frogs do not look that bad at basketball this year. I'm interested to see what Baylor's going to be able to do to them, though. 12.5 point favorites. I think that's about right. I don't think TCU is that great. I think they're a decent team in the Big 12, but again, a lot of teams that I think are better than them, including Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. I don't know. I think TCU might give Baylor a little bit of a fight here, though. Number 18, Texas Tech at 3 o'clock is traveling to Iowa State. Now, the spread's only 6.5 points, which is what I don't think that highly of Texas Tech. Again, Iowa State's probably the worst team in the Big 12 right now. And supposedly Texas Tech's the 18th best in the nation, according to AP, but still only favored by 6.5 points against the worst team in the Big 12. Something's fishy there. I do not think that this Texas Tech team is really good at all, but the fact is, just pure history, Texas Tech has defeated Iowa State in the previous 3 matchups, which makes me feel like this streak's probably going to continue here, especially since not because I think Texas Tech is any good, but the Cyclones are just really bad at basketball this year. I don't see it really happening. Tulane, which is sitting at 6-2, traveling to number 11 Houston. Houston had a pretty great bounce back win. So again, they played Tulane this week. Tulane's sitting at a 6-2 record, which is not bad, not halfway bad at all. But the Houston guard Grimes, he leads the American in free throws, 68, and points, 181. Houston's having a great season. That one loss, Tulsa, it's kind of what they're normally gonna have. I bet they lose one more game to SMU because those are the teams they normally struggle with. Maybe they lose in the American tournament, but the most losses I see this team having is 3 heading into playoff team. I don't think Tulane's going to upset them today. Not any offense to Tulane. I think they've put together a great basketball team this year. But the fact is I just don't see Tulane as a serious threat to Houston and the Cougars. 3:30, we have Oklahoma traveling to number 6 Kansas. I actually think this is an underrated game of the day. Oklahoma's actually, the Sooners got pretty much destroyed against Baylor. I feel like they're going to want to have a bounce back win. Plus, I'm pretty sure the last time Kansas played it was against Texas, getting their asses beat against Texas. The Longhorns just absolutely destroyed them. So I think it's going to be really interesting. I think Oklahoma has a serious shot at pulling off this upset here. Oklahoma's played 9 games. Kansas has played 11, so I don't know, the 9-2 records and 6-3 records respectively. Kansas is favored by 7. I think this is going to be a weirdly close game, but the last 19 visits to Kansas has resulted in a loss for the Sooners. I don't think I'm going to pick against that, but I do think Sooners have a serious shot at beating Kansas today. Number 1, Gonzaga is traveling to Portland, and the fact is just, I don't know how you pick against Gonzaga playing these teams right now. Fact is, they're not going to face an opponent that can really probably beat them until the tournament again. Playing all conference all the time, it's just not going to go well for people in Gonzaga's conference. It's just not. I thought San Francisco, Pepperdine had a chance heading into the year the way they've been building upon their programs, but the fact is they've just not looked like they can beat Gonzaga over the past few times they've played. I don't know, maybe they can pull something out in the championship tournament. Little playoffs, but I don't find it likely. I feel like Gonzaga's going to destroy Portland today. Now, this is my upset of the day. 8:30. Number 17, Oregon, traveling to Utah. Now, you can tell, it's telling for the Pac-12. Normally, when you're talking about probably the best in the conference facing the worst in the conference, it's a little bit more than 3.5-point favorites. Like, Utah is not considered the cream of the crop in the conference, but I gotta be honest, I've not been impressed with Oregon. They had that loss to Missouri, and I'm like, okay, Missouri's actually looking good. Maybe I can forgive them, and then they got pretty much destroyed by Colorado this week, and I have no faith in them really anymore. I believe the Utes, it's possible they pull off the upset, mainly because Utes aren't horrible. Like, I think that's the definition of how to win the Pac-12 conference at this point. Don't be absolute and utter trash, and you'll get in. It's the Pac-12's just it's like watching paint dry. It is some of the worst basketball you'll ever watch, and I beg of you, please do not watch Pac-12 basketball. God, it's so boring. If you're gonna watch a college conference game in basketball, watch something other. Big Ten's a lot of fun. See a lot of good games in there. Big 12's been fun this year. ACC, SEC's not horrible. American and Big East, these are all fun conferences. Pac-12 is just god awful. I don't see them getting more than one team in the conference, and they should be glad that they're guaranteed one team in the playoffs, because I think they're going to lose in the first round if I'm going to be honest. Like, these teams are not good. But, Oregon guard Duarte leads the Pac-12 in steals, which is with that 22 and three-pointers and 28. 20 made free throws pointers over 10 games. That means he's averaging a little bit over 2 a game. Like, that's not good. That's not a good thing. He's probably taking a whole bunch too. I don't have any faith in the Ducks this year, so give me the Utes. Hey everybody, this is GGB, co-host Pepper saying adios amigos and go Utes.